The transfer portal continuing to churn. John Mateer, Washington State quarterback, is in the transfer portal. Now, we expected for him to jump into the portal and have a do not contact tag. He shows up there. That do not contact tag is not there. Miami, as of this morning, we're hearing reports from Pete Nakos here at On 3. Got an intel piece out. Go check that out. That Miami's trying to get in the mix. So how would this fit for John Mateer? What would this mean for Miami? Would this make sense? We'll talk about it right now. Make sure you are subscribed right here to the On 3 YouTube channel. If you're a Miami Hurricane fan, got a lot to talk about with your Canes here moving forward. If you're a college football sicko, we got the portal rolling, we got the college football playoff, we got recruiting that never stops. Make sure you're locked in here. Best way to be locked in by making sure you are subscribed. So I'll say this. John Mateer entering and not having that do not contact tag, I think probably tells us, if we're reading between the lines here, that there's some legitimacy to the idea that he could end up somewhere besides Oklahoma. Let's reset the table. A do not contact tag in the transfer portal essentially means, hey, don't call me, I'll call you if I'm interested. So if John Mateer were to hit the portal with that do not contact tag, I think most people's expectation is, hey, he's probably going to Oklahoma. Now, full transparency, just from what I can gather from the way this whole thing is shaken out with his former offensive coordinator being there, his former quarterback coach being there being Norman, Oklahoma, Oklahoma still feels like the front runner in my mind. But with that being said, the no do not contact tag tells me that there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance is all I'll get to it here. There's a lot of variables in the pitch for a John Mateer to Miami that would make sense. Sounds like NIL. If you're Miami, man, you can swing a big bat, and it doesn't sound like that is like the end-all, be-all for John Mateer, but I'll tell you this, man, it doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt, all right? More zeros, potentially less problems. I'll leave it at that. The Cam Ward effect, I think, is also very, very intriguing when you talk about a John Mateer potentially following him from Washington State to Miami. I say following him, following in his footsteps. Because if you go to Oklahoma, and again, I still think they're the front runner, but if you were to go to Oklahoma and be reunited with your offensive coordinator, there's still some projection happening there, right? Of like, hey, we can take what we did at Washington State and copy and paste that to a place like Norman, Oklahoma in the SEC, which maybe you can. I'm not saying you can't. But you look at what Cam Ward did at Washington State, then goes to Miami, and quite frankly, balls the heck out as a Heisman finalist, and now has more or less, from what I understand, a first-round draft grade. That's real. That's tangible. And if I'm John Mateer, I look at what Cam Ward did at Washington State, and I compare my own numbers. Now, granted, Cam Ward played a Pac-12 schedule. John Mateer played more or less a Mountain West schedule. But John Mateer, man, more total yards, more total touchdowns. It's not inappropriate to believe that John Mateer could play at a certain caliber of a Cam Ward if he were to end up at Miami. So again, this makes a lot of sense. I see the potential fit here for a John Mateer in Coral Gables. Also, let's be real. The offense that you would play and understand in Dawson, should you end up at Miami, it's not a bad way to strut your stuff for the NFL. You're going to air it out. I would expect if John Mateer were to end up at Miami, Miami would have a pretty strong pitch to make then to potential weapons to join him in Coral Gables. So there's a lot there that would get me excited about the John Mateer era, obviously for a number of reasons I just mentioned. Now, what would it mean for Miami? I think if I'm Miami, the thing that would maybe be the most encouraging is we don't have to do this whole massive reset once Cam Ward goes to the NFL. Because as good a season as you had, there were some games here that you point to as a Miami Hurricane fan and say, Cam Ward just put the JanSport on and took us to a win there. I look at the Cal game, look at the Va-Tech game. They kind of put it into overdrive in the Duke game. And, again, I'm not saying it was all Cam Ward, but it was pretty heavily linked to Cam Ward and his production, his performance this season. He had the best, I would argue, season a quarterback has had at the University of Miami of all time. So, there's that part of this equation. And so even if John Mateer doesn't have a Cam Ward kind of season, even if he's just in the neighborhood, it gives you a chance now to kind of keep building what you already have in place foundationally at Miami. Now, the trick there is, okay, well, if we don't get the best season of all time from our quarterback in the school's history for the second year in a row, how do we ensure that we still have the similar trend as we had this year? We win double-digit games. You would hope win the ACC. You would hope make the college football playoff. What was the problem this year? Got to revamp the defense, man. Because Cam Ward, it hurts to say, but we'll say it, He was good enough to win you a national championship. If it was all about number one playing quarterback, he was good enough to accomplish everything you wanted to accomplish. However, the beautiful part about football is it's about the 21 other guys around the quarterback, offense and defense. So what I would say is it's kind of like, it's the holiday season. It'd be very Charles Dickens Christmas Carol-ish if you're Mario Cristobal and that staff. Because you just had the situation where you had the greatest quarterback in your school's history under center, and vibes were immaculate, and then you got to the doorstep of all that you wanted to accomplish, didn't get it done. Well, what happens in Christmas Carol? For those of y'all unfamiliar, Ebenezer Scrooge wakes up, gets a second chance at the life he wants. This could be the second chance for Mario Cristobal in Miami at the season they would like to have with the generational, overused word, we'll use it, with a generational dude at quarterback in a one John Mateer. So again, for me, I'm curious to see how this whole thing shakes out, but the no do not contact tag from where I'm standing feels very massive. Again, I still like Oklahoma, but this feels massive. There's clearly a fit. There's clearly a pitch to make if you're Miami, and it would be massive on a number of levels for everyone out there at the U in terms of their success going into another year under the Cristobal regime. Let me know your thoughts. Better yet, let me know your confidence level if you're a Miami Hurricane fan or an Oklahoma fan when it comes to John Mateer, the two schools being mentioned the most right now for his services. But I promise you, as soon as we have more news, as soon as we have a definitive decision from a one John Mateer, we'll have reaction for you, we'll have thoughts, we'll have takes, and we'll discuss it together right here on the On3 YouTube channel. Appreciate the heck out of y'all, man. We're going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time.